Take you around for the tour. I know we hadn't been on here for a hot minute, but just to recap what we got going on, if I don't get my helmet caught. We now have this patch panel completely put in. We've removed the side windows. We've removed the rear window. We've got a couple of the dents fixed on this corner. We fixed the roof dent that was pretty bad up top. We have welded the holes up, 2 holes on this side. I still got 3 to weld up on the other side that we're fixing to do now. I got some inserts put in for where the mirrors are actually going to be mounted, so that way you have nice threaded inserts instead of just screwing straight into the metal, so it looks a little bit more polished, clean looking, and that way you can actually screw them in and they'll hold tight. Got some dents knocked out up here on the front fender. Of course, you saw the radiator support was in last time. Like I said, we got this other patch panel put in down here. I don't remember if I showed you guys that or not, but I put in a small patch here and a larger patch here. Got inside, cleaned all the foam out like we said before, because that was causing problems. Got this window removed, and like I said, now I'm going to start filling these holes where these running lights are actually at. So I've got that third one over there, this one, and this one. The other ones, as you can see, are already done. They're sealed up nice and tight, got some primer on them. And so that's what we're going to be working on tonight. It may be about all that you see, because I need to get this truck, this cab, actually in epoxy primer this weekend if at all possible, because this thing is scheduled back and the time is flying, and I got to get it done. So stick around, let's see what we can do. All right, so I went ahead and pulled all of the windows out, corner glass, everything. That way I could get all the trim out, because on this thing here, I'm planning on going back in, trimming out the door jambs, all of that, even all up in here. I didn't remove this rubber because it's glued on. So what I'll do is I'll tape it up the best that I can and sand around it, and then just spray the inside of the door jambs all the way around. That way the paint matches the door jambs match the paint, so that way there's no extra surprises whenever you open the door, right? Because so many times people will just paint the outside and they won't paint the inside or the door jambs to make it match. And so I'm just trying to make sure that we do it, like I said, like I would want on my truck. So driver's side, same way. What I'll end up doing is I'll end up going in here to the inside and taping all this off, so that way we don't get the interior messed up. But as you can see, I cleaned up and sprayed a little bit of primer on those spots where I welded those holes up top. I still have to drill the hole for the light bar that's going to go on top up here. Still working on those, how to get those in there, so that way I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, so like I said, everything's pretty much been stripped. Time to get the sanding. I got to do some body work, fill where these patches that I put in are, fill them up, make them smooth, and then we can spray some primer on it. So I'm gonna epoxy it first, spray some primer on it, and then we'll be able to put some slick sand on it, so that we make sure this thing is straight. Got the bed in epoxy already, some of the priming done on it. I'll take you in there at another date, but right now I'm just trying to get this cab done. So all right, let's get to it. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get some of these spots ground so that I can get some fresh metal. And just got a 40 grit sanding disc, roll lock disc that I'm putting on here. And we're going to try and get some of these sanded down so that we can weld on this panel. So I don't know if you can see it or not, but these front, and let's see, this front, this back, yeah. So these three here are actually raised up a little bit, so I'm gonna try and tamp them down just a little bit to see if I can get them back in check before we weld it. If not, then I'm gonna end up grinding and have a whole hump there, and yeah, we just don't want to do that. So let me see if I can get them tamped down just a little bit. So give me just 1 second. Not trying to get them perfect, like I said, because there's going to have to be a skim coat of putty put across these once the weld's done, just to kind of level everything out and just so that you don't notice it. But I just want to make sure that I get it as good as I possibly can. Make my life a lot easier on the long run. Okay, so I've got to get me some good metal that I can clamp my ground to, and then we'll start welding. First thing, I just want to make sure that I'm very clear. This is all brand new interior, like I said, but I want to make sure that I cover it up. So this is a welding blanket, a fiberglass welding blanket that I have draped across this entire area. So as we are welding these holes here, these are really the main ones that I'm concerned about, sparks actually getting onto the interior. But you can see that I've got it well covered. As you can see on that side over there, driver's side, I put some paper, masking paper over the window whenever I welded those other two up. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. It just protects the windshield, and basically it just helps any slag or anything from the MIG welder from actually etching into the window, and we don't want that. So I'm gonna get that taped up and then I'll bring you right back. So anytime you're welding, heat is the enemy, so you always want to cool your panel. I'm still working on trying to get that taped up, and then I'll be with you here in just a second. But like I said, I just want to let you know that heat is the enemy in welding, because you don't want to warp it. So make sure you use some air to blow across. Just got your run-of-the-mill standard masking tape and paper. Like I said, we're not concerned about it really sticking really good, or anything of that nature. We're just trying to cover the windshield from sparks and debris, because we are not pulling the windshield out, but I will be cleaning up around the edge where the trim goes around it. All right, so now that we're all taped up and all covered, gotta get my grounding clamp, and then we'll fire this welder up and get started. All right, let's see how this bad boy does. That was just a anti-spatter coating that I added on, just so that it helps me keep from spattering all over the place. That's what I was afraid of. All right, I gotta get my ground clamp situated. Alrighty, and just like that, we had the holes welded up. Everything still feels relatively smooth. A few low places, like I said, but you're not going to be able to get away from them. At least I haven't found a way to get away from them, so now we can spray a little bit of primer on these areas, and then I need to start sanding on this whole thing to get it ready. Late last night, I got the remainder of this truck sanded with 80 grit. I still have to come in here and 80 grit the edges. I need to do the hood. Still got to do the other side over here, passenger side. Still got to do all of it. Still got to do the roof up there. And I got no idea how I'm gonna get up there so I can sand. I was talking it over with Pops last night, and he said maybe put some scaffolding or something over here just so that I can reach it. I still got to work some more on that third brake light up there. There's still a dent on top that I've got to work out. Yeah, like I said, this thing just keeps on giving. When I'm about ready to be done with it, it is continuing to give and give and give. So let's see what we can get done today. It's a new day. Let's make it happen. Ooh boy, I'll tell you, man, this truck keeps on giving. Every time I think I've got it whipped, it gives me something else. So let's take a look at this right here. All right, so right in here, we've got rust like all the way through. So now I've got to create a patch panel for this wheel lip here, which I was not at all intending to do because I thought the main parts were the rear cab corners, but apparently there's some on the front fenders as well. So I'm going to try and get those fixed. All right, so that's passenger side done. About half of the top done. The back's already done. Sanded. The driver's side sanded. I literally have the hood left to sand, some edges to sand down, other half of the top, and then I got to make that patch panel, but that's going to happen on another day next week. So thanks for watching. Make sure you click that like and share and subscribe button. I appreciate all your comments, all your views, and you don't know how much you mean to me, but you truthfully mean the world that you're watching every bit of this and going through it with me. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.